Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is, of course, a forum for you to come in and participate. So use social media to get in touch with us. On Twitter, you can tweet out with hashtag India Post Live, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live, or you can use Facebook. We have a page called India Post Live. You can go ahead, like it, comment over there, share pictures or videos or anything else that you want. Also, you can go to indiapostlive.com to watch this live right now as we stream, or you can watch it later as a video on demand. And there are so many other conversations about various other topics that we've done, so check those out as well and let us know what you think about them. We have a wall for you to comment upon as well, and in case you want to participate, be the expert, think you have an opinion that hasn't been expressed over here, well, you can certainly go ahead and send us a participation request, and we'll for sure get you in via Skype or Google Hangout. All right, today we are celebrating 75 years of Batman. Yes, it's been 75 years since the first Batman comic came out, and what a time it's been. I mean, in the sense, what a massive franchise brand Batman has become. So we put together a little bit of a story for you. Here's a look at that.
It was supposed to give competition to the success of superhero Superman, but artist Bob Kane and writer Bill Finger never thought that their creation in May 1939 will stand the test of time. Batman was created to take on Superman, and comic lovers soon fell for the wealthy character of Bruce Wayne, who, come nightfall, swapped his suits for a black mask and cape to fight Gotham City crime. Batman Day is officially on July 23rd, but Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment have organized a month-long series of events to commemorate the Caped One's milestone. Not only are Batman comic books generally bestsellers to date, but the character is undoubtedly the most successful superhero in other media like movies and video games. So here's wishing the man in cape a very happy birthday.
All right, so we're talking Batman, and who we got in the studio to do that. We have Jairaj Singh with us. He's the editor of Time Out Delhi and, of course, a big Batman fan. And Asad Ahmed. Asad Ahmed is also a Batman enthusiast, a Batman fan. And I've decided to call him a Batman analyst because he's really watched everything and, read a lot as well, almost all of it, right?
Yeah, wow.
All right, and we're also joined by Mithali Sen Gupta. She's, of course, a social media expert and a Batman fan as well. So, and we also have with us Aniruddha Chakraborty. He's the founder of Chariot Comics. So thanks very much, Aniruddha, for coming in. But Asad, I'll start with you. 75 years, what's so special about Batman that sets him apart from the rest of the clutter?
See, the fact that he is human at the end of the day. The rest of the so-called superheroes are superheroes either by accident or by some divine gift thrust upon them. That is where Batman is unique. He is literally the best of humanity. Whether it is his no guns rule or his maniacal, this thing for the law, everything about it is the best that a human can be. And I think that is where it inspires people to be such an icon that he is. That the character is, so to speak.
Interesting points that he makes over there, Jairaj. I mean, in the sense that Batman is ultimately, he's not an alien coming from outer space like Superman, or has been bitten by a spider like Batman. Spider-Man.
I agree with Asad. As far as a superhero is concerned, he's the most human of them all. At the same time, I don't know whether he's the best of human. I would say that he's somebody who we've seen consistently in the last few years confronted with some very pressing real problems where and I think that whole thing started in the 80s. I think when they really took the superhero dimension, started with Watchmen and Frank Miller and Alan Moore to really get deep into these superheroes. And so what do we know of Batman? He's a rich guy, by day, and at night he's a vigilante. But here's the thing that he's constantly he has to use his own resources, so he's a killing machine. At the same time, he's constantly pressed with conundrums of whether to to sacrifice, for the moment. Should a large number of people be affected for one villain? Or, these are things that, he constantly battles with. I'm a complete fan of Batman. In fact, I'm a bigger fan of Batman than Superman.
I think I would be counted as a Batman fan rather than a Superman fan as well. But Asad, I mean, Batman is not just about himself. It's the supporting cast that is equally important. I mean, the villains have been iconic. I mean, for Superman, you just remember Lex Luthor, and you don't really recall any other villains. But I mean, for the Batman villains,
Doomsday who killed him. So.
yeah, I mean, still, I don't know that. I mean, and the fact is that for Batman, I would know every villain, and it's been that they've been that good and that iconic.
Yeah. No, the reason I think again stems from the fact that his presence and his ideology in itself requires that kind of a villain who will stand up to him. I mean, the Joker. His best villains are, I mean, just to digress a bit from the topic, his best villains are also human. So a Joker is human, and your Bane is human if you discount the use of that venom that he uses. There are other villains in the Batman universe who are genetically, superior, like a Killer Croc or somebody like that. But at the end of the day, the best villains are still human. And they represent his complexity, Batman's complexity, in the negative sense that Batman represents in the positive sense. So that's where I believe, his universe itself carries a stamp of Batman wherever and whenever he goes. Even in his sidekicks, the Robins of the universe, there have been 4 or 5 of them. Each of them had their characteristic affected by Batman's persona per se. So there.
Joker is, as you said, is completely reflects Batman's inner turmoil.
Yeah.
And you saw that with Alan Moore. I think it was The Killing Joke, which actually where he goes and looks deeper into the psyche of Joker, as well as Batman. And so while Frank Miller in Dark Knight Returns showed Batman as this aging, man who superhero has been, who's forced to return to the streets, you saw the Joker sort of constantly challenging his own sense of morality into what needs to be done. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Joker. The Batman is here's the problem where Batman he's affected by not killing the Joker because so he paralyzes him, I think.
Yes, he does.
And in that sense he's ridden by guilt because had he killed him, sort of few people would have been affected. So there is this constant. So the demon within Batman is the demon outside on the street, and the Joker is constantly challenging that. And in fact, Ishan, if you're a big Dark Knight fan, and you see the way Christopher Nolan literally lifted that concept from Frank Miller and Alan Moore and brings it, and which is why I think we're Dark Knight fans today.
Yeah, and the reinvention that Batman has often seen is something that I want to talk to Aniruddha about. Aniruddha, I mean, it started out not as that dark and that serious. I mean, there was that dark element, of course. He is the Batman, but I mean, you remember the Adam West series and the Biff Pow Bam kind of thing, and to do the Dark Knight. So the Batman series has over the past 20-30 years in front of us really undergone huge changes.
Right, of course. I mean, from you have the camp era, then you have the golden age Batman. Then I think the major reinvention, which was pointed out earlier, happened post the Frank Miller era, after the Dark Knight Returns. That's when they categorically decided that, well, let's say Batman is a dark character, let's roll with that. And I think that was the transition into a slightly darker, more brooding Batman. And actually, to be fair, one of the coolest things I've seen in the recent years is Grant Morrison's run, which actually took elements from across ages in the Batman Rest in Peace and that storyline. And I think that kind of sums up how even the camp era can work in the new, darker Batman.
All right, but Mithali, with Batman, there is also a lot of fan art that comes. There's also a lot of fan videos. I remember there's a famous this thing called College Humor, and they have a lot of viral hits with Batman and Superman. And the fact that Batman is a character who's completely different from any other superhero makes him stand out over there in that superhero universe as well.
So what happens is Batman, why people connect with Batman more is because he's human, he has his faults and then he makes up for that, While you can there's this new thing they made a spoof of Batman versus Superman, right? The whole thing, it's like spanned throughout the ages, and now they have made Batman versus Wolverine. So they're putting him against each and every other superhero with, abilities that Batman does not possess. He's just human, and then he still fights them with, using basically intellectual prowess and a
But
lot of,
often
human-
isn't that a stretch? I mean, the same college humor cartoons. I mean, Superman always ridicules Batman, saying that Batman, you can't have everything in your utility belt. I mean, every solution in the universe can't be in that utility belt. So, I mean, Batman also stretches it a bit, doesn't he?
Well, it's always like a tug of war situation with both of them. It's like sometimes I will win, sometimes he will win. So it's basically, like Superman always taunts Batman that you can't fly. And there's this whole era of humor about this, your parents died. Would you
Yeah.
come to my party or something of that sort? The whole thing about, punching him in the weakness and everything. So that's the whole humor about, because you can't actually make a person laugh about anything else apart from his sad stories, punching him right where it hurts, right where it hurts.
All right, so I want to go across to Akshay Dhar. He is the founder of Meta Desi Comics. Akshay, thanks very much for coming in. Is Batman a punching back kind of a character? Is he one of those Rocky Balboa kinds of characters who likes to take the punch, and then perhaps come in the end and win, as the Rocky series was?
Actually, he's kind of the opposite of that. He's not. He takes a beating, but
And we seem to have lost that link with Akshay. So he certainly seems that has taken a beating off and has his back broken and things like that. What not, huh?
Yeah, but again, fundamentally he's a strategist. In his entire whole persona, the detective portion is something. So every situation he goes into, he's already worked out 10 moves ahead what's probably going to happen, and he's prepared for that. But every now and then something or the other happens. I mean, when Bane broke his back, it was actually because he had tired him out. So Bane had strategized just like a Batman would, and tired him out and then lured him into a fight and broke his back. I mean, there's this whole debate about if Batman had been at his prime and not had to take care of the entire Arkham Asylum before Bane took him on, he would probably have beaten him. But then, the fact remains that his humanity, which is his greatest strength, is also his greatest frailty. So yeah, he'll get the punches for that. The whole point is about standing back up again.
All right, so
something
Batman-
of a Rocky there.
All right, so Batman certainly stands back up again, and that is what is great about Batman. And Batman has also come to India. Raj Kamal H has brought Batman. He's a graphic novelist, and he's been doing a lot of design work around Batman. So, Raj, tell us why is Batman in India and what's he doing here?
Guys, it's like, see, I'm not much of a traveler. So, and since most of my time I just spend between Calcutta and Delhi, and I both love this. This two of the cities are very beautiful. I mean, as a photographer, as an artist. So I thought, okay, fine. What if Batman comes to these two cities and India as a country? So like when people come from abroad, the first thing they say, they have a huge cultural shock. So I thought, okay, fine. So even if Batman is a superhero, he will still experience all those cultural shock. So that's how it all began. And so wherever I go, I carry Batman along with me. And whatever food I eat, wherever I go, I make sure that, I take photos of it. So to express that, that he's just like a traveler, who is experiencing India first time.
All right. In fact, Raj, we'll try to put a few pictures of that out of what you've been doing around Batman. And but why Batman? Why choose Batman?
I guess Batman. Yeah, I mean, while growing up, I guess it was 1989 or something. I saw. I mean, I guess the first movie of Batman that came in the movies, right? And yeah, I mean, I was a kid that time, and the first superhero and seeing it on big screen, I mean, it left a big impact. And yeah, and Batman has a mystery about him. I mean, yeah, I mean, I always believe he is always like, misread and like, misinterpreted or misunderstood at some level. So I wanted to like, give him the human aspect of Batman, that, yeah, he's wearing a mask, but deep down, he's also a human. I mean, like, he has feelings like everybody of us. So yeah.
All right, interesting take. We've been showing our viewers the pictures that you've been taking with that Batman figurine, and very, very interesting artwork there, and lovely pictures there, Raj. Thanks very much for coming in and sharing your perspective on Batman and celebrating his 75 years today. But Jairaj, but there is a lot of fan art, but fan art has often been the saving grace for Batman, because there have been attempts by mainstream directors in the past to almost kill the franchise. You had Joel Schumacher doing that almost with Batman Forever, and I mean, that was George Clooney's big vehicle into filmdom, but it wasn't the best of starts.
We saw some terrible films of Batman, growing up, especially, but we weren't coming from much. We were coming from Adam West. This series of Batman, very ridiculous looking Batman, in that silly costume of his. But that was our diet of superhero, and our half an hour of good fun where we were all impressionable, and we didn't have we weren't very so Adam West was where things were. If I look back, I laugh at myself for taking him seriously, but he created Batman for us, and then we saw these films, and we thought Batman had lost, and the only ones.
The initial films, were they that bad or good? I mean, because the one with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, I mean, is still regarded as a pretty good film. It was only with the Batman Forever and
exactly
the things really go
See,
down.
till it was with Tim Burton, it was still somewhere on an acceptable level. When it went to the summer blockbuster level, that was when they started doing things just so that people could have their popcorn in peace.
Right.
So
it was just garish. I
Yeah,
think it was
bad.
just
it just went a little
Arnold
weird.
Schwarzenegger as Iceman. It was just bizarre.
All right, but Anirudh, the point is that the success of the movies, I think, is what has really kept the franchise alive as well. I mean, every Hollywood A-lister now wants to be Batman, and Ben Affleck is soon going to be Batman, but there's a lot of controversy around that as well.
Right. So, I mean, the Batman has been, if you look at it, one of the most consistently successful movie franchises. If you were to look at it, I mean, and has been coming out very regularly as compared to any of the other comic book characters. Superman had a good run, failed. Batman still has been consistent in that way. And to be fair, it is one of the best. As a character, he's been one of the main reasons why, a lot of people get into comic books. So it works, I mean, from a Hollywood point of view. And I mean, actually, to me, Batman generally also defines comics. If you look at what Batman was in the 60s, that's what comic books and storytelling used to be. The 70s, 80s, 90s, now everyone likes their comics dark. So you have the Nolan trilogy, which was really successful. So, I mean, he's just actually kind of represents the overall trend in what people like in their comic books.
All right, Akshay, as far as you're concerned, the movies might have been very successful, but are they enough? I mean, what do you think are people more fans of? The comic book series, the comic books are read wider, more, or are the movies the bigger audience for the Batman?
The movies are definitely the bigger audience because there's no question you'll reach more people in a movie.
We seem to have a little bit of a problem with Akshay's link over there. We'll try to re-establish that. Let's quickly get in a video response. We've also gotten quite a few of those. So let's play out one for you.
Hi, India Post Live. Happy 75th birthday, Batman. I am supposed to say something on Batman. Always liked him. Very dark, grey, fear-evoking character. Greatest detective with lot of money, a playboy, but as I grew up, I always thought that his human side is less explored. If I was handling the Batman, I would have liked him to make him a little more colorful and explore his human side more. Anyway, you are good as you are. Happy 76th birthday, Batman.
Batman is a superhero with no superpowers. But when he walks into a room where people can run faster than light, read minds, and fly, He intimidates all of them. That is because he is defined by his personality, not his superpowers. Batman was not born with any superpowers, nor was he a result of any radioactive experiment. He was what he wanted to be. He made a choice. Bruce Wayne's character also teaches us to do something for the society and give back.
To give back to society, but what would you want to be? Would you want to be Batman or would you want to be Bruce Wayne? Is a question that I'd like to ask everybody. Asad, what about you?
No, I think everybody would say that they want to be Batman.
I would want to be Bruce
I would say I
Wayne.
would want to be Batman, but then it's much easier being just Bruce Wayne. That's how life is.
I would hire 10 Batman.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier being Bruce Wayne to be Batman because otherwise you can't afford all the stuff that he does and gets away with it, especially those bikes and the cars and the flying machines. But you know, I think they're interesting characters. To be doubled as one because you know it's kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Dr.
Yeah.
Hyde kind of a
Exactly.
criteria. It's a split personality almost, and you know I've always wondered why if people cannot guess the jawline and all, you know, to keep it in a real sense. But I think Nolan changed that for me. He changed the way you saw even Bruce Wayne, you know, and the way he deals with. You know, his Alfred, and you know, and so it's a I think the series changed the way I think we view Batman.
Yeah, I think the backstory was really established in the sense, the real sense of what Batman would be doing during the day. But Mithali, coming to you, as far as Batman's women are concerned, I mean, he might be Bruce Wayne and would have all the money in the world and is said to be the playboy. But that angle was never explored really properly by the comic book or by the movie franchise in the sense of a playboy image for Batman. Perhaps with Joel Schumacher and George Clooney in Batman Forever, there was a slight element to that with two female leads, but other than that, in terms of the ladies department, Batman's been found pretty wanting.
Well, you remember when there was this whole issue that came out, like one of the major comic heroes is going to become gay, you know, there were announcements. So people were sort of starting to, you know, question the whole Batman issue as well. But
So
I
could
am
Batman
pretty
be
sure-
gay? Are you saying Batman could be gay?
Yeah. So a lot of people start questioning that. So that's one of the issues that was raised because of the comic. But movies made it pretty much sure. Like there was Poison Ivy, there was Catwoman, there were Batwomen, and there are a lot.
All right, and now we seem to have lost that link with Mithali. We'll try to re-establish that. But the same point to you, Jairaj. I mean, why doesn't Batman have like the hot women like a James Bond has? Like in a movie, you have to have like so many beauties. I mean, for a writer, I mean, or for a franchise to explore that angle as well, could really open a whole new avenues.
You know, it's interesting you say Bond because I thought that, you know, Batman and Bond have a similar kind of you know swagger to them. At the same time, I feel that, you know, to overpopulate it with the women especially, I think it's more of a movies phenomena where you need the completely a blockbuster package in that sense.
All right, we have another participation request coming in, and Ujjwala Singh joins us. Ujjwala, thanks very much for coming in. I believe you're a big Batman fan, and we've been talking about why aren't there enough women in Batman's life? Why aren't there enough beautiful women? Do you think that's a problem that Batman has?
No, that's not a problem. That's a liberty. I think he has to do that to mask his real identity.
All right, but
Bat-
all right. So the mask is real identity, but what do you make of the franchise, and where do you want to head it with Ben Affleck now that there's a new movie coming out with Batman? What direction would you like to see Batman go in?
I see him in the positive direction still, and that's how everybody wants to see him.
All right. As far as Ben Affleck is concerned, and he'll be playing Batman next, what do you think about that? Do you think he'll make a good Batman?
I don't think so.
Who would you have rather Batman be played by?
I'd rather have Christian Bale.
But Christian Bale's not playing Batman. So other than Christian Bale, who else instead of Ben Affleck? Would Matt Damon make a better Batman?
No.
I think Matt Damon would become a better Batman. Anyhow, but that's your opinion. Which other movie star, any other movie star you would like to cast as Batman other than Christian Bale?
I can't think of any right now.
All right. We'll let you go on that one. Thanks very much, Udishwita, for coming in and sharing your thoughts on Batman on his 75th birthday. But I'll put the same question to you, Mithali. With Batman, where do you want to see the Batman franchise go, and what do you think about Ben Affleck as the next Batman? Because that is the next big thing to look forward to from that franchise.
It was outrageous, like when they announced Ben Affleck is going to be there. You know, you saw him as Daredevil first of all, like the blind dude, and then suddenly he becomes Batman. It's like the whole world has been thrown out of context and everything. So I don't think Ben Affleck can actually play the role very well. Yes, I'm questioning his abilities as an actor as well. So I think like you said, Matt Damon is a better option because the whole brooding character. You need a brooding person, like a person who can actually emit that brooding look. And
but
everything.
I think Ben Affleck's been brooding for a really long time. I think he's been brooding in general.
This chocolate boy image, or the whole.
I think after the J-Lo breakup, I think he's been brooding ever since that. I think he's got enough of a brood going. But Aniruddha, I'll come to you quickly. Where do you want the franchise to go from here? In what new situation or what new dimension do you think the franchise can go?
Should move to, the Frank Miller version of Batman, the older, tired, beaten down Batman. That's what they need to move into. If you're casting Ben Affleck, he's 40s already. You might as well have a Batman, the Frank Miller version of the Batman. I mean, he's not going to cater to your, below 16 audience anymore with Ben Affleck. And also to point out, Matt Damon, I know he's a good actor, but he's kind of short to be Batman, very honestly. I mean, I don't know, but he's a little tiny to be Batman. So Ben Affleck, even I didn't like Daredevil that much, but I don't think it was Ben Affleck that spoiled it, very honestly. So I wouldn't be, too quick in dismissing Ben Affleck. But yeah, if they don't take the Frank Miller direction, I think the franchise is in a little bit of trouble. So.
All right. While we might be celebrating 75 years of Batman, let's try to create a little bit of a hashtag trend. So why don't everybody tweet out with hashtag best Batman villain, and let's talk about the best Batman villain. So Aniruddha, very quickly, best Batman villain for you.
I wanted to go. Obviously it's got to be the Joker, but yeah, Bane. I think Bane has been an equivalent to him physically and mentally both.
Mithali?
Well, I think it's between Ra's al Ghul and probably the Mr. Freeze.
All right, Jaswita, what about you?
The Joker.
The Joker, Asad?
It's the Joker.
The Joker, Jairaj?
I want to find out what happened to Penguin. He used to be a funny guy,
Yeah, I think Danny DeVito did a brilliant job as the Penguin.
He did a brilliant job, yeah, exactly. And he seemed like a twisted fellow. But, as far as complexities go, it has to be the Joker and for the comics as well, not just Heath Ledger's performances. I think the Joker has been the ultimate arch enemy of Batman, in my opinion.
He's the doppelganger of Batman in many ways.
I personally love Poison Ivy. I think Uma Thurman changed everything. So on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks very much, guys, for coming in. 75 years of Batman. We're celebrating Jaswita, Mithali and Aniruddha. Thanks very much for coming in. Also, Akshay, thanks very much for coming in earlier. Jairaj and Asad, it was a pleasure to have you in the studio. And we leave you with, we went out on the street asking people how they would, what they thought about Batman and 75 years of his existence. So here's what people had to say. We leave you with that.
If you become Batman for one day, what will you do?
I would rob all the banks all over the world. I will kisses a lot of girls and will fly away. Fly करूँगा अपने से उनका वो स्टेप का होता है उनसे रस्सी डाल के नेक्स्ट बिल्डिंग टू बिल्डिंग वो करना.
जितनी भी मस्तियाँ आज तक नहीं करी सब एक साथ उड़ के.
I will help the accidental victims.
एक मिनट sir.
Once more.
I will help the accidental victims.
Don't put this यार. Delete this right now.
अच्छा कैमरा पे देख के बोलना है.
I will help the accidental victims.
I think we'll have to retake this.
Yeah, retake.
I will help the accidental victims.
What will you do if you become Batman for one day?
I'll roam around in the Batmobile.
I will fly all over the city.
For one day, I'd go to Parliament and I'd first ensure that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi don't enter.
Terrorist होते हैं, उन्हें बहुत मारूंगा.
Yes.
I'll join the opposite side, Joker side.
I would kill all the rapists.
I will do
do something interesting.
I would like to mix the Spider-Man style and the Batman style.
मैं तो अगर होती तो सबसे पहले एजुकेशन सिस्टम को ही चेंज कर देती.
If I'm Batman for one day, I'll fight the bad guys.